Imagine a town where yak bells tinkle beside satellite dishes and climbers post last-minute letters before heading to Everest. Or picture a hilltop shrine where monkeys act as unofficial gatekeepers to rituals older than most nations. Far to the south, Buddha's birthplace in Lumbini shelters a sacred pond and groves that revived after being lost to time. And in Upper Mustang, walled cliffside settlements conceal murals painted with pigments once traded along ancient Himalayan salt routes. Perched at 3,440 meters, Namche Bazaar is the highland hub where Sherpa culture, trading routes, and Himalayan panoramas intersect. From its stone-paved alleys, you can see Everest and Lhotse framing the skyline like bookends. This market town grew around yak caravans and has retained that caravan spirit in its bustling morning markets. Traders still swap dried meats, yak butter, and hand-woven prayer flags alongside modern trekking gear. Visitors acclimatize here for days, letting the thin air sharpen their senses while guest houses hum with climbers' plans. That gradual ascent links Namche directly to Lukla below and to Kumjung and Tengboche higher up the valley. Kumjung, with its ancient Mani stones and monastery, offers a living thread of Sherpa history that feeds Namche's cultural life. Visitors who time their arrival can witness blessings for climbers, rituals meant to calm the mountain spirits before expeditions depart. Wildlife is ever present. Snowcocks and Himalayan taurs graze the ridges while, in deep valleys, elusive red pandas sometimes slip past bamboo. These creatures remind trekkers that Namche sits at a junction of ecosystems, from alpine meadows to forested ravines. Communication towers and satellite dishes peek from rooftops, but many decisions still hinge on weather patterns, read by elders and seasoned guides. From Namche, the trail fans out. Rescue helicopters may descend to the football field, then return to villages stitched together by footpaths and suspension bridges. Hidden beneath the summit shelters, Nepal's Khumbu icefall dumps ancient glacier ice down colossal seracs, making Everest Base Camp one of the rarest living glacierscapes on Earth. Do you know Everest Base Camp sites at 5,364 meters on a shifting moraine where every step is negotiated with centuries of moving ice and wind-polished stone? The trek to this threshold begins in Lukla, whose tiny airstrip is the gate that threads thousands of visitors into a landscape governed by altitude and Sherpa hospitality. From Lukla, the trail climbs through rhododendron forests to Namche Bazaar, a buzzing bazaar that feels like a mountain capital, trading oxygen and culture in equal measure. Beyond Namche, the path narrows and the sky seems closer as you pass Tengboche Monastery, its prayer flags snapping beside panoramic views of Lhotse and Ama Dablam. Each village, Dingboche, Feriche, Lobuche, teaches climbers how to breathe higher, live lighter, and listen to the mountain's weathered language of creeks and avalanches. At Gorak Shep, the air thins further and the terrain turns lunar, a raw hint of the summit beyond. Yet Everest Base Camp remains a communal campsite below the Khumbu Glacier. In the next segment, we'll follow a team from Namche up to Gorak Shep, tracing each step toward the base of the world's highest ambition. You'll hear voices of local guides, scientists, and climbers who reveal why this camp is both a spiritual crossroads and a front line of environmental change. Prepare to walk with them over stone and ice to learn why Everest Base Camp is a mirror reflecting the future of high mountains everywhere. What we find at the end of the path may change how we think about mountains forever. From here, the route fans into routes toward the summit and back down through valleys that carry the stories of every pilgrim and porter. Join us as we trace those valleys and the lives woven into them, step by careful step. Lumbini preserves a rare pocket of Tarai wetland and sacred Sal Grove, where Siddhartha Gautama was born. Do you know the Maya Devi temple stands over a marker believed to be the original birth shrine, and that an Ashokan pillar here dates back to the 3rd century BCE? Pilgrims cross flat rice plains to enter a quiet garden where monasteries from dozens of countries form a ring of international devotion. The scent of damp earth and jasmine rises as you trace the path from the pond where legend says the queen bathed to the sacred Bodhi-like saplings planted by visitors across generations. Archaeologists have unearthed ancient brick platforms and bathing ponds that rewrite how we understand early Buddhist life in these lowlands. Nearby Tilaurakot and Kapilvastu hold ruins that feel like chapters of the same story, connecting Lumbini's birth site with the prince's childhood and early renunciation. Walk the shaded lanes, and you move between simple local shrines and extravagant international monasteries, each interpreting the Buddha's life through ceramic, wood, and modern design. Monks in saffron robes converse with visitors from Tokyo, Colombo, and London, their footsteps tracing a spiritual highway that stretches from the Terai Plains to Kathmandu's ancient stupas. Scholars, monks, and local farmers meet under the same trees to debate authenticity, preservation, and the living meaning of a site that attracts both historians and seekers. Lumbini is less a museum and more a converging field where ecology and spirituality, past and present, meet in ongoing dialogue. To stand on its earth is to feel linked not only to one prince's birth, but to an entire ripple of human thought that still reshapes how people live and travel across Nepal. Nepal is home to Langtang National Park, one of the few places where subtropical forests rise into glaciated alpine valleys within just a few kilometers. Do you know Langtang National Park shelters a vertical mosaic where rhododendron jungles give way to snow leopards and moraine lakes within a day's trek? The valley's human history is layered, with Tamang villages clinging to steep slopes that have preserved Tibetan-influenced culture, language, and crafts for centuries. Language, song, and prayer wheels here tell intimate stories of trade routes, seasonal herding, migration, and resilience that survived earthquakes and avalanches. Hikers are struck by rapid shifts. 1 hour among steaming monsoon leaves, the next in crisp air scented with pine and juniper. This contrast creates habitats for rare species like the red panda and the elusive snowcock, each adapted to tiny mountain microclimates. Each step connects to neighboring regions, from Kathmandu markets selling Tamang crafts to high passes merging into Tibet's plateaus. We'll follow a single trail through Langtang's layers to reveal hidden springs, community rituals, and the survival strategies of mountain plants. By the end, you'll see why this compact park is a living laboratory of Himalayan ecology and a blueprint for resilient stewardship. Hidden within the Kathmandu Valley, Bhaktapur Durbar Square sits above one of Nepal's rare high-altitude freshwater spring networks that have sustained its ancient courtyards for centuries. Do you know that the Kathmandu Valley's spring-fed water system, unique among high-altitude urban centers, made possible the terraced gardens and the wooden waterspouts that define Bhaktapur's streetscapes? Step through its carved brick gateways, and you enter a living museum of medieval Newar craftsmanship. The five-tiered Nyatapola Temple soars above Taumadi Square, its stone guardians older than many modern nations and still watched by generations of devotees. Around the 55-window palace and pottery square, artisans spin clay and chisel timber, using methods little changed since the Malla kings. Every pot, every lintel, and every mass carries a story that links family lineage, festival rites, and the city's political past. Bhaktapur's lanes are stitched together by communal courtyards, where festival drums, masked dances, and ancient choir songs mark seasonal time. In spring, Bhaktapur's Biscuit Jatra launches chariots and contexts of strength that echo across the valley toward nearby Patan. That connection is no accident. Trade, marriage, and craftsmen flowed between Bhaktapur, Patan, and Kathmandu for centuries, exchanging styles and sacred objects. Walk from Bhaktapur toward Patan, and you will notice how brickwork and wood carving motifs alter like dialects of the same language. The square itself survives as both shrine and marketplace, where every corner offers a hidden detail, a tiny shrine to a protective deity, a secret inscription, or a faded mural. Photographs capture its red brick glow, but only in those quiet mornings, with the valley spring still gurgling. Do you feel the city's heartbeat? Preservation after earthquakes has become a modern act of devotion, blending traditional builders with engineers trying to keep roofs from collapsing. Chitwan National Park in Nepal safeguards one of the world's last intact subtropical riverine grassland ecosystems, where wild Bengal tigers, greater one-horned rhinoceros, and gharials coexist within a single protected floodplain. Do you know Chitwan's floodplain? Dense sal forests and elephant grass savannas in Chitwan cradle an astonishing web of life, from sloth bears to fishing cats hidden under the canopy. Each monsoon, the Rapti and Narayani rivers rewrite the park's map, creating ephemeral oxbow lakes that become magnet sites for rare waterbirds. Local Tharu communities traditionally read the rhythms of these waters and practice farming techniques unique to the Terai, passing knowledge down through generations. Conservation efforts here have been equally unique, with community-based anti-poaching units and careful rhino translocations reversing what once looked like inevitable extinction. At dawn, you might encounter park rangers on elephant patrols, the same method used to build relationships between people, animals, and the landscape. Dozens of medicinal plants growing in shaded gulches are still used by herbalists, linking the park's biodiversity to centuries of healing traditions. Beyond charismatic megafauna, Chitwan is home to tiny marvels: neon dragonflies that patrol reed beds and rare marsh frogs that sing at night. The park's landscape forms corridors that connect westward to Bardya and east toward Koshitapu, offering migratory routes for elephants and carnivores alike. Scientific teams have discovered previously undocumented insect species here, and camera traps continue to record unusual behaviors from Thai tigers in the tall grass. Visitors who come quietly can witness gharials basking with their needle-snouted jaws, a living link to reptile lineages tens of millions of years old. Chitwan's stories are not only biological, they are cultural mosaics where river festivals, harvest rituals, and oral histories make the park a living laboratory. Follow its waterways and you find stepping stones to Nepal's highlands, where seasonal migrations of people and animals create an unbroken thread through the country. Protecting Chitwan means protecting more than one park. It means safeguarding a network that sustains both local livelihoods and wildlife across Nepal's varied landscapes. Stay with us as we step off the jeep tracks and into riverine forests to uncover a hidden calendar of life measured in monsoon pulses and endangered footprints. The Annapurna Circuit frames the Kali Gandaki Gorge, considered one of the deepest river gorges on Earth, carving a dramatic corridor between the massive Annapurna and Dhaulagiri massifs. Do you know the Annapurna Circuit crosses Thorong La Pass at 5,416 meters, one of the highest seasonal trekking passes in the world, where verdant forests give way to wind-scoured alpine desert in a single day's climb. From the terraced fields and citrus orchards of lower valleys, the trail climbs through rhododendron-splashed slopes into villages like Manang and Pisang, communities that have adapted their crops, homes, and livelihoods to steep gradients and thin air. In Manang, ancient gompas and modern tea houses sit side by side, and the culture shifts from Nepali to Tibetan, as monasteries guard the passes and prayer flags narrate centuries of highland trade. Beyond Manang, The route offers detours to Tilico Lake, one of the highest lakes in the world, its aquamarine surface framed by stark, glaciated peaks. Then the path descends toward the Kali Gandaki Valley and the historic salt trade highways that once linked remote Mustang with lower Nepal, a corridor of arid cliffs and whitewashed villages. Jamsom becomes the windy gateway where mountain air funnels through the gorge and winds drive the distinctive dark clouds over Dhaulagiri. From there, the pilgrimage town of Muktinath offers both Hindu temples and Buddhist stupas, a rare religious crossroads perched at the edge of the high plateau. Whether you cross Thorong La or linger by Tilico, the Annapurna Circuit compresses the planet's vertical diversity into a journey that feels both epic and intimate. It is this blend of geological extremes, living culture, and surprising biodiversity that makes the circuit less a trek and more a condensed education in the Himalaya. From the glint of prayer wheels to the stubborn barley fields clinging to steep slopes, every detail tells of adaptation and quiet ingenuity. And because the circuit links directly back toward the lakes and forests around Pokhara, the transition from raw mountain to tranquil valley feels like closing a vast layered loop. High above the tree line, Upper Mustang shelters one of the world's last cold deserts, its red cliffs honeycombed with ancient caves. Do you know that Upper Mustang, once an isolated kingdom on the Tibetan plateau, still preserves rock art and salt caravan routes unchanged for centuries? Langtang, its walled capital, feels like a living museum where prayer wheels spin beside mud brick palaces. Walk down its narrow alleys, and you find frescoes and manuscripts that hint at a spiritual history braided with Himalayan trade. Beyond the town, wind-carved escarpments reveal thousands of man-made caves, some holding mummified remains and votive relics. Archaeologists are still deciphering why entire communities once dwelt inside these cliffs and why many tunnels mirror those across the Tibet border. The landscape itself is a record of extremes, scoured by winter winds, drenched by seasonal light, and colored in ochres you won't see elsewhere. This rain-shadowed valley produces its own microclimate, with surprisingly rare alpine swayambhunaths and migratory birds that nest in cliff ledges. Cultural life here moves to the rhythms of Buddhist festivals like Tiji, when masked dances reenact ancient myths of survival and rebirth. For a few days each year, the kingdom's past bursts back to life as villagers, monks, and pilgrims gather beneath prayer flags. Ancient salt routes that once linked Mustang to Tibet shaped not only commerce, but the very identity of its people. Even the place names and family lineages echo those exchanges, spoken in dialects that are a living map of cross-border ties. From the Mustang Highlands, the trail descends toward the Kali Gandaki Gorge, a corridor that once funneled traders and myths toward the Annapurna Massif. That descending path is where the desert gives way to terraced fields, monasteries, and the pilgrimage shrine at Muktinath, binding Mustang to Nepal's broader spiritual map. Crossing this threshold, visitors sense why geography here writes history. Each bend reveals a new chapter, and every shrine holds a story older than the maps. Stay with us as we follow that ancient route, because beneath Mustang's red dunes lies a story that reshapes what you thought you knew about Himalayan frontiers. Manang Valley harbors one of the planet's rarest high-altitude microclimates, where apple orchards and terraced barley fields thrive above 3,500 meters in Nepal. Do you know Manang Valley contains a chain of glacial ponds that shift color with the seasons, visible from the Annapurna Circuit? The valley feels like a living atlas, its villages stitched together by old mule tracks that once carried salt and wool between Mustang and the lowland markets. From the village of Pisan, the slopes give way to arid cliffs, and then to green terraces in Braga, showing how microclimates change in a single day. Braga's whitewashed monastery guards ancient Mani stones and murals that map the valley's spiritual lifelines, connecting farmers and highland traders. Beyond Braga, the road narrows, and the landscape opens to vistas of Gangapurna's glaciers, feeding the Marshangdi River, the valley's pulsing artery. Local guides still follow routes that skirt bergschrunds and moraine ridges, their knowledge bridging Annapurna Base Camp and the high passes toward Thorong La. And beneath all of it, under terraces and stone walls, lie ancient irrigation channels and hidden spring-fed gardens that explain how life endures here. There is one unexpected corner of Manang, where a sunken gorge traps heat and supports wild apricot trees, a tiny Eden that hints at more secrets further up the trail. Follow that trail, and you'll understand how this valley threads together the Himalayas' extremes, human, climatic, and geological, in ways few places can match. In a rare ecological staircase, Nepal is one of the only places on Earth where subtropical jungles climb directly into alpines of pine meadows within a single day's walk. Do you know that the Langtang Valley holds glacier-fed turquoise lakes that shimmer with minerals found in almost no other inland water? Now step into Kathmandu Durbar Square, the living heart of the old Kathmandu kingdom, where streets still hum with centuries of carved wood, stone idols, and palace secrets. Here the skyline is punctured by tiered pagoda roofs and the famous Kumari Gar, the house of the living goddess, whose rituals bind past and present. Every alley leading from the square is a thread that ties Durbar to nearby temples, ancient marketplaces, and the red brick pulse of Bhaktapur. Carved courtyards reveal hidden narratives, kings enthroned in stone, brass horses that outlast dynasties, and secret chambers that whisper royal edicts. You can trace a path from Durbar's Hanuman Doka Palace to the sacred Bagmati River and onward to the stupas that crown the city's ridges. Artisans still chisel the same motifs their ancestors did, so each timber beam acts as both art and historical ledger. During festivals, the square transforms into a living theater where masked dancers, incense, and centuries-old drums rewrite time for anyone who watches. But beneath the pageantry lie layers of resilience. Earthquakes have shattered temples, yet craftsmen rebuild, preserving techniques missing from most modern cities. Walk slowly, and you will find inscriptions in Newari script that chart trade routes to Lhasa and to the Indian plains. Those inscriptions connect Kathmandu Durbar Square to Nepal's unique geography, where mountain passes channeled goods, gods, and stories across Asia. By the time you leave the square, you feel history settling into your bones. Durbar's stones carry stories that travel far beyond borders. Perched atop a limestone hill rising from the heart of the Kathmandu Valley, Swayambhunath is one of the world's rare urban hilltop sanctuaries, where wild macaques roam among millennia-old stupas. Do you know Swayambhunath's name literally means self-existent? And legend says the hill grew from a lotus that once floated on the primordial lake covering the valley. Visitors climb a long stone staircase lined with prayer wheels and guardians, each turn of the wheel a whispered wish sent skyward. From the central plaza, The gilded stupa's watchful eyes survey Kathmandu, while prayer flags stitch the breeze into moving scripture. Monkeys weave between pilgrims and photographers, and the steady chime of bells underscores rituals that have endured for centuries. Courtyards reveal murals and carved wood that trace cultural exchanges with Tibet and ancient Indian kingdoms, each panel a page in Nepali history. At sunrise, the stupa catches the light like a beacon above lingering valley mist, and by dusk, brass lamps transform the hill into an intimate theater of devotion. Archaeological layers and oral myths sit side by side here, making the site feel both documented and mythic at once. You can hear languages overlap: Nuari chants, Sanskrit prayers, Nepali conversations, creating a living archive of belief. Conservation efforts now work quietly alongside daily worship, striving to protect fragile murals, carved windows, and the hill's ancient stones. Beneath the snow line of the highest peaks, Nepal folds together glaciers, temples, and tiger corridors into a single living mosaic. From the tilted terraces of Mustang to the prayer-flagged ridgelines above Pokhara, every path is an invitation to discover something odd and unforgettable. A trek that begins amid Himalayan silence can end in the chants of a 2,500-year-old shrine in Lumbini, where the Buddha was born. A drive from the alpine pastures to the grasslands of Chitwan will bring you from snow-fed streams to a sunrise chorus of hornbills and crocodiles. In Kathmandu, you can still meet the living Kumari, a young girl revered as a goddess, while a stone's throw away the Kali Gandaki slices, what many call. If you go, carry curiosity, humility, and the patience to walk slowly. These are the keys to unlocking the subtle miracles hidden between peaks and plains. And if you think you've seen Nepal, remember there are caves with ancient manuscripts, villages that keep sky worship rituals alive, and Himalayan passes where local myths still map the stars. This film has only sketched the edges of that map. Keep watching, and you will uncover salt routes, hidden monasteries, and the people who keep these stories breathing.